My name is Suresh Madhavan. Started out in life, single mom, no father. Mom came to this country, no money, raised me, ultimately got me into medical school, and started my own business in my garage, turned it into and grew it into a multi-million-dollar global corporation, and now own tens of millions of dollars of commercial real estate around the country, have interest in many other businesses. I wanted to share this information and knowledge with you, not only from my own experiences, but mostly from my mentor, who's a billionaire today, and what he shared with me along the way when he took me under his wing. It was really the catalyst for this journey that I've been on. So when I first started meeting with my mentor, he asked me about books I was reading. And of course I was telling him I was reading about books on investments and real estate and all this stuff, because I thought that's what rich people did. You had to learn about money, and you had to learn about real estate and investing and all the stock market and all that stuff. And he said, yeah, don't read any of those. He said, they're important, but they're not important enough to read early on. He said, I want you to read this one book, and when you get done reading it, I want you to read it again. And when you get done reading it for a second time, call me. So I said, okay, sure, no problem. And it was a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It was a real little, small book, and I got it in paperback. So, ordered it off Amazon. I read the book. Read it through once and didn't know why in the world he was asking me to read this book. It was kind of a good story, I get it, but I really just didn't have a grasp of it. So I remember I texted him and I said, I read the book. And he said, okay, you read it again? I said, no, but is there something I should be looking for? And he said, read it again. So I read it again. And after I read it again, I reached out and I said, okay, yeah, I read it again. He said, what do you think? I said, yeah, I kind of get it. I understand that, it's kind of like about your mindset and how you're envisioning and what your goals are. I get it. And he said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to read it again, and I want you to answer this question. What's the single most important lesson you are getting out of this book when it comes to achieving your ultimate ambitions? So I said, okay. So I'm reading it a third time. And when I read it for the third time, it felt like I was reading it for the first time, because I started reading it with his question in mind. And when I got done reading it, I realized what it was in that book, the secret or the underlying unspoken thing that he was asking me to really uncover. And he didn't want to tell it to me because he knew that if he spoke it to me, I wouldn't realize it. Whether you're watching this video and thinking, well, I'm just gonna watch this video so I don't have to read the book, I'm telling you right now, that's not, and obviously I have no interest in the book. I don't care if you buy it or not. If you're serious about reaching your ultimate ambitions, you're gonna buy the book even after hearing what I'm about to share with you about as far as the underlying secret in the book. And you're gonna read it, and you're gonna read it again, and you're gonna read it a third time, because it's that important. It completely took me from being dead frickin' broke to now being a multimillionaire with everything I have. It was the lesson of desire. You have to have the desire to get to where you want to be. And that's not want, that's not would like, that is a deep-rooted desire. I didn't quite grasp this, but there's a story in the book where, long and short of it is, there was a woman who was doing some work for a owner. It was obviously a crazy situation, and you'll see when you read the book. And the owner, the property person, didn't pay the woman, and the daughter of the woman ends up going to this man and saying, you need to pay my mom. It was a quarter or some small amount of money. She didn't leave. She didn't leave until he gave her that money for her mom. Her desire to get that, because she realized that her mother needed that for their survival, that was so important. There was no I kind of want this or I kind of need this. There was a deep desire that was beyond want. There's a couple other lessons in the book that you'll read. And I realized this after reading it for the third time, and then he came back to me and he said, when you first met me, what were you looking for as far as your goals? Why did you want to be wealthy? You said, hey, I want to be a billionaire one day. And I was okay, great. But why? And I said, I want nice things. And he said, like what? And I said, I want a nice house. I want nice cars. And I want to maybe have a boat one day. And I want to, go to nice restaurants and eat good food and take nice vacations. And he said, okay, go ahead, continue. And I couldn't really think of anything else. And he said, that's it. And I said, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. I want to be wealthy. I want to have a good life. I want to have all that stuff. He said, oh, you want to have all that stuff? And I said, yeah. And he said, what's that stuff going to do for you? I said, I don't know, make me happy. And he said, really? I said, yeah. He said, for how long? I said, I don't know, probably a while. He said, you sure about that? I said, no, I don't know. He's like, why don't you know? So he said, listen, you are going for stuff. Your why right now is weak. It's flawed. Your why doesn't have desire and purpose behind it. Your why is so weak and flawed, you're never gonna get there, because as a human being, we are wired for survival. We are wired for deep-rooted emotions. We're not wired for the little quick fix, because what happens is once we get that, we just want something else. We have to have something deep-rooted and meaningful. That's what's important to us. As we went along, I would read that book again, time and time, and he would reference that book. And then one day I shifted, because I just wasn't getting to where I wanted to be. I said, you know what? Forget the cars, forget the houses, forget all the stuff. I want to pay off my mom's house. And he said, you want to pay off your mom's house? Why do you want to pay off your mom's house? I said, because she worked hard like an animal her whole life, making nothing, working 3 jobs. She came to this country, left her family behind. She barely spoke the language. You know, single mother. My dad left right before I was born. She just did it alone. I know she's always struggled because she gave all her money to us, her kids. She never did anything for herself. She deserves to not have to worry about paying a mortgage every month. If not for me and my sisters, she probably would have been mortgage free, I don't know. And she never did anything nice for herself. And so he said, okay, so let's make the plan around that. In the following 24 months, I was able to generate enough income that I could have paid the house off twice over. When I shifted my desire and I shifted my why, everything about what I was doing completely changed. That was the secret to getting to where I wanted to be. I had to shift my why. I had to shift my purpose. And when I shifted it to something real, deep-rooted and meaningful, not some garbage Lamborghini, it completely changed my mindset. It completely changed what I was doing, how I was doing. It changed how I emailed people, how I called people, how I texted people, because it was something that was hitting different. I don't know what it is in your world that you need to focus on. It might be a child, it might be your parents, it might be your grandparents, it might be a charity, I don't know. But find that something that's not material garbage, focus on it, really laser in on it, and watch how what you do changes from day to day. Watch how your life in general transforms. This lesson was one of the biggest for me because I realized just how important meaning and purpose are in life. It's not about the cars, the boats, and all that stuff, because when your day ends, you're laying there and you're looking back on your life, you're not gonna be looking back on all that stuff. You're gonna look back on the relationships you had, the people in your world, and how you made them feel, what you were able to do for them and change their lives that will continue on maybe for generations. That's gonna be what's most important to you. So if you read this book, I want you to come back to this video, leave a comment, and let me know how it hit you. But I'm telling you now, like my mentor, who's a billionaire, shared with me, and I know it's weird to read a book 3 times, but trust me, read it once. Take some time, read it again, and then take some time to reflect on your desires and your why, and read it for a 3rd time. Then come back over here, drop a comment, and let me know what you think. Guys, like I said, I'm here sharing my knowledge with you from my mentor who's a billionaire, because no one was making videos like this when I was a kid and when I was a young man growing up. I was just trying to read books, figure things out on my own, and then I met him. Over the last 20 years, the knowledge I've learned from him, I'm now trying to compress into these short videos for you. So maybe if there's someone out there who's starting behind the 8 ball, or has some kind of compromised situation, or just maybe has a desire to be something more. I don't care if you're 14 years old or you're 40 years old and you're married with kids and you're trying to become a better dad, a better husband, and provide better for your family. I don't care. If these videos can help you get to that next place in life or reach that ultimate ambition, well then, it's a win-win. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and check out some of the other videos on the channel. I'll see you next time.